Okay, sorry about the interruption. If you're still interested, I have one or two more books to tell you about, and I may highlight a few from the Smartboard. This one I don't think I mentioned before. It's a true story, it's a memoir. The author was a Navy SEAL, so if that kind of story appeals to you, I know a couple of kids that read it last year really liked it. He does tell stories from his boyhood up through adulthood, and I think the underlying message is he was a man with a mission. He wanted to do great good in the world. It's a book, very much about courage and, a personal story that's inspiring and can show you that you can make a really positive impact in the world. This one is actually a film I've shown my students in the past that was based on her story. Temple Grandin, and in the film Claire Danes plays her. Temple Grandin, if you don't know who she is, very well-known, famous person. She speaks all over the world. She has a PhD in animal science. And when she was young, doctors didn't think she would ever be able to speak or do much of anything. In fact, they thought she should be put in an institution and that her mother should pretty much give up on her. She was a young girl with pretty severe autism, and it was back in maybe the 50s when she was diagnosed, so they didn't know a lot about what causes autism and how the autistic brain works. So obviously it's something that we've learned a lot more about in recent years, and that is pretty common in the population. So this book was really, it's a story of her life, but it's really written for middle school students. If you don't know about her, she's a fascinating person. In fact, she developed the slaughterhouses, I shouldn't say that. She developed a system that was more humane. And about 50% of the slaughterhouses in the United States are based on the models that she was able to draw up because she could relate so well to animals. Just the way that her brain works. She was able to design slaughterhouses that would be more humane for the animals going through this process. But that was only one of her many achievements, so hopefully you'll be interested in learning more about her. This story, I didn't read it. It is the author who wrote The Notorious Benedict Arnold, and it is about it's a nonfiction book about the development of the atomic bomb. So if that is a topic of interest to you, you might want to, if you like reading history. So a few books I'm going to highlight here, some of which will come into play with the Holocaust. This man, Raoul Wallenberg, I actually do have this book, if anybody wants to check it out. He's a name that most of us don't know, but he was in the right place at the right time. He was a diplomat in Sweden who ended up saving many, many Jews. He was had the opportunity, and he did great good. If you've ever heard of Oskar Schindler, we have those people that opposed Hitler and were able to save lives through what they did. A couple other ones. I don't have this one, but it is a romance kind of story that would be very much geared towards kids your age if you just want to read modern fiction, kind of teenage romance. This book I would recommend to more advanced readers just because of the content. When I say advanced, mature is the word I am looking for. The reading is easy, but it was one of the most favorite books I read in this past year. Adults love it. Your parents actually might really love it. And sounds awful. Somehow the author managed to make it still have moments of humor. The Fault in Our Stars, it won awards on every book list that you could pretty much find. The author is John Green, and the storyline is about a girl named Hazel. And she has cancer, and she falls in love with another boy. I don't want to give too much away, but they both have cancer, actually. And so it's a book that's sad, very, very sad in parts, but also it's just so well written. As I can say, it's a fabulous book, but definitely for a mature reader in some senses. This book was supposed to be one of the best fantasy books of the year that came out, Serafina, and I think it's about a world in which there's these half humans, half dragons. So you'd have to, if you like fantasy, you might want to check it out. This one I already talked about. Let me just kind of skip down here a little bit and see which other ones. If you like science, you might like that one. This one is similar to that. If you've never read it, it's the story of Ernest Shackleton. Beautiful photography in this book. It did come out a number of years ago. But if you don't know who Shackleton is, it's again another adventure, sort of survival, extreme conditions story. I'm not going to talk about all of these. Let's see which ones I should focus on. This one I already talked about in school. This is the one that goes along the fictional version of the Emmett Till case. And I want to just show you, let's see. That one looked like it was fun book to read. And let's see, just kind of heading backwards through these. So a few other titles I wanted to mention. This one is going to be an easy read for most 8th graders, but it's about a boy who is born with really severe facial deformities. So, and kind of what he goes through and how people treat him, because literally the way he looks is, people want to stare when they see him, but I've heard just wonderful, wonderful things about it. It's one that I want to read to my own children, and I've had 8th graders who have read it and really, really enjoyed it. It's gotten some great reviews. And I think I've talked about most of the ones that I wanted to touch upon. Actually, this one here, I believe, was on the list for the Civil Rights, Slavery, Apartheid extra credit reading. So I just wanted to kind of show you a few of the books that you might want to think about. And of course, there's many, many, many others. But that one you've already seen. This sounded like it's a spy story. Sounded really good. But I don't know a ton about it. This one I do have a copy of if you want to read it. Basketball Story, I have that one in the classroom. And, this one is a romance that I think would be perfect for an 8th grader. I didn't read it, but it sounds like it's just right for your age group. So if you want something like that. But there's plenty of other great nonfiction books. And I hope that you all pick something and find a few good ones to read during these winter months, with a nice cup of hot cocoa, maybe curled up by the fire. So hopefully this helps. Let me know if there's any titles you want to know more about, or if you need some more suggestions. Thanks for listening.